All right, guys, it's December 24th, 5:17 p.m. It happened. I called the doctor earlier and I'm like, am I gonna know when it's gonna happen, or is it just gonna be a light period for I don't know how long? And he's like, everybody's different. You can have a light period, but it just happened. I actually felt some pain for not really pain. I just felt some cramping. I felt like I've been standing up for too long and I needed to sit down. And then 20 minutes later, as I was walking, I just felt it blop. And I just felt it was coming out and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And then I took off my underwear and there it was. And I'm looking at it right now. It actually looks like a yolk sac. And it's still perfectly intact. And 5 minutes later of me sitting on the toilet, the placenta came out. So that was an interesting experience. I do want to show you what it looks like if you guys are interested in seeing what a 6-week baby would look like coming out. Probably have to be a separate video, but let me know in the comments if you want to see that. Definitely not for the faint-hearted. Thank you so much for sticking with me during all my miscarriage videos. I know it's a very uncomfortable topic and people usually suffer in silence. I believe I've been put in this position for a reason. I do have a platform where I can spread knowledge and empowerment through knowledge, and that is why I decided to share my experience. When I was going through the miscarriage, I felt somewhat alone in not knowing what to expect. And I'm hoping this video will help a mom out there that is going through the same process and to help shed some light on what to possibly expect with a natural miscarriage. Now, bear in mind, everybody will have a different experience. Unfortunately, our bodies are different, but this was my experience. As I shared with you before, I was very rattled by going to Facebook miscarriage groups, and I was truly looking for a positive experience on the miscarriage process. Now, obviously miscarriage itself is very sad and nothing about it is positive, but I was hoping the process of passing the baby would not be as traumatizing as many moms feel. Yeah, I was one of the lucky ones in saying that I did not have a tough miscarriage process. And I know there's other moms out there that are not so lucky, so my heart goes out to you. And as you are aware from my previous videos, there's 3 ways you can go about a miscarriage. You can either have a natural miscarriage, which means you wait for your body to shed the tissue on its own and hopefully shed all of it, or you can have a DNC where you have to actually have surgery to get all the tissue out, or you take a pill that expels or encourages your body to expel everything. Obviously, each one of those may come with its own complications. I decided to have a natural miscarriage, and now I'm going to share with you the timelines on which it occurred, along with the pregnancy progression lines and when I finally was HCG free. So as you are aware from my previous videos, I went in for my week 8 ultrasound to find out that my baby has no heartbeat on December 16th. At that point, I had no signs of miscarriage other than loss of nausea and fatigue symptoms that usually come with first trimester. So from December 16th, week 8, I continued to not know what was going on until I finally started bleeding. So as you can see, the week 8 pregnancy test was showing a dye stealer, which means it was very, very dark for HCG. And as expected, I was still pregnant at that point, even though it was a missed or silent miscarriage. Moving on to the day that I started bleeding on December 22nd. I still went in the doctor's office that day and they still did an ultrasound and they told me everything was still the same and they see no signs of miscarriage other than, again, the baby had no heartbeat. But they still continued to give me hope that the baby might still be alive or too small, which I knew deep down that that was not the case. I started losing my symptoms around week 7, so it was around a week before I had my scan, and we found out on the week 8 ultrasound that my baby was measuring during 6.5 weeks. So it actually aligns, or very well, closely aligns to when I stopped feeling the nausea or the increase in nausea, which was around my week 7 video, if you check that video out. After I started spotting December 22nd, I finally, with a natural miscarriage, no interventions at all, I passed the baby on December 24th. The baby came out in a sack along with my placenta. Later on, I would say 5 minutes in, the placenta came out. I was sitting on the toilet at that point because you really can't be walking. It's all coming out as if you're giving birth. And I continued to bleed heavily for the rest of that evening. So that was a good 4 hours of heavy bleeding. The next day, I was on a normal period. I bled until December 29th. So that's a total of 7 days of a natural miscarriage. Now, I was really concerned, again, from being rattled by the Facebook groups, that I wouldn't pass all the tissue, because that is also a possibility where you continue to spot or bleed and see no end in sight, and then would need to take a pill. So I did stop bleeding 7 days in. However, I wanted to make sure that there was no tissue left, as that will also possibly give you an infection. I started testing again on January 5th. Bear in mind that's about 12 days past baby coming out, and I still had HCG in my body. I tested again at 17 days past baby coming out. I did, if you can see that right there, I still had a little bit of HCG in my body. And then the last day that I tested was 18 days past, which was the 11th of January, coming out completely clear. So 8 days past passing baby and placenta is when I was completely HCG free. You're probably watching this video because you are experiencing this or think you may be experiencing this, and I just want to let you know that you are not alone. You will get through this. You are awesome, and remember to be a shark.